Officer's Log 02. Stardate 04-01-2081. This is Fiery Shadows, Junior Engineering Officer of the Umbral Pyre Manufacturing and Logistics Corporation. Progress has been good. I've awoken much earlier than anticipated. However, the stasis was largely to preserve resources. Food supply is now plentiful, and power is adequate. Reserve power looks good, however hydrogen is still critically low. If I am to survive out here, I will require infrastructure. Finding ice is my utmost priority, but I also must find iron and cobalt, as well as have a reliable way to refine it if I am to stand a chance of making it planetside.
Okay, today we need to find ice, we need to find iron, and we need to find cobalt. With those three things, we can get a temporary base of operations set up. Now, the main thing we need is we need the ice. I have not got a hydrogen supply, and my hydrogen for my jetpack is running out. Without my jetpack, I'm going to struggle to get around. In fact, there is a high possibility that I will just drift off into space. So, ice for my jetpack is a priority. This means we're going to have to build an ore detector on this. So, oxygen. Our oxygen supply is fine. We have an oxygen tank on board our vessel, and the oxygen tank itself has 96% full, which is fine. We also have a oxygen-hydrogen generator, which means once we find ice, oxygen is not a problem. And now I'm stuck floating. So this is why we need to have fuel for our jetpack, because I am now completely immobile. Can we get rid of this? Right, if we put the ore detector on the front here. There we go. We can now detect ores, which will be really useful because I've been scanning that asteroid there. I've not been finding anything. I've been looking. I've not found anything. So with the ore detector now in place, we should be able to start prospecting some of these asteroids for some ores. Oh, I should probably, while I think about it, let's add this ice. Not the ice. Add the glass to the panels that need it. And I've fallen off my ship. Again, this is why we need the hydrogen, because if this happens with no hydrogen, I am a little bit screwed. Because it's using a fair amount of power at the moment. Right. Now, with the ore detector in place, we go fly close to the asteroid. Hopefully we should be able to pick up some ores. At least attack some ores. I'd be very surprised if there weren't any ores in this asteroid at all. So again, in the dark side of the asteroid, I can't see a lot. I might, I'll fly around the light side of the asteroid for now. Purely because I like being able to see where I'm going. There is a big hole here. But I'm not detecting anything. Which is odd. Normally there'd be something. But I'm not picking up anything. I really found an asteroid that has nothing in it. Because again, I've not found anything on its surface. Admittedly, the placement of that ore detector probably would have been better underneath, now that I think about it. But it should still pick up ores. I am going to have a fly around and see if I can find anything on this rock. If not, we will have to choose another one. Okay, it appears it's our lucky day. We've just stumbled over some ice. This is on the main rock that we were surveying, so hopefully we should just be able to plunge down into that, get some hydrogen, and then we can set up a temporary base on this rock. Now, the issue being, I can't actually see if that ice patch is anywhere near the surface. But I'll take what I can get. It is on the surface. That is ideal. It's in a dark patch on the asteroid, but that's okay. Because it's on the surface, what we can do is we can plunge the drill in. I need some downwards facing lights. Is what I'm going to need. There's another icy patch there. Oh, that is made of ice. Yeah, that is made of ice, isn't it? Okay. This is good. So I should have clearance just to go straight down. Straight down, back a bit. I'll make some lights pointing downwards. Here we go. Okay, we've got a nice full inventory full of ice. So downwards facing lights, some stone, and then hopefully get some additional bottles. Those. One angled that way. One angled the other way. It should give us an idea of where ground is in front of us and behind us. I'm going to let some of these resources process, and then we will check in a bit. We have acquired our ice. We have actually a nice small stockpile of resources. However, if we want to build any more storage or any more cargo containers, we are going to need cobalt. So that needs to be the next thing on our list. And to refine the cobalt, we will need a basic refinery. Basic refinery. Let's put that into production. So it will start working on those resources. What we need to do is we need to find the cobalt. Now, we also don't have a lot of power. We've only got an hour. Now, we've got a nice tank, of which I believe it's about half full. So we've got a half full hydrogen tank. So about 500,000 litres in that tank. The hydrogen engine consumes 500 litres a second. That means at 500,000 litres, about 5,000 seconds worth of fuel. I'm no expert, but that's like 100 minutes. So that's like an hour and a half's worth of fuel. So we've now got a storage of hydrogen for us in case we run out. And I've also stashed a spare one in the flight seat. So should we run out of hydrogen completely, we do still have a reserve. And this will allow us to get around with the jetpack. I think we turn the hydrogen engine on to give us a power boost. And then we go exploring and look for cobalt. Now, I don't know where we'll find it. We might even find some resource nodes on this asteroid. However, given how large it is, it could be optimistic. I think we make our way over towards some of the rocks in the distance. We have a marker for the ice. We'll continue surveying this rock, and then we will see whether we can survey some of the other surrounding asteroids. Okay, let's start thinking about slowing down. We have iron. We have iron. As usual. Oh, silver. Hello. That's okay. So we found silver, we found iron. That is a good start, but we need cobalt. Other than that, I think this is just ice. Okay, this rock was a bit further away than I thought it was. Oh, nickel. Oh, that could be useful. I think this is only a nickel asteroid. There are other ore deposits, I'm not finding them. Okay, so we have encountered our first major issue. Power. Even though we've got reserve power in the form of the hydrogen engine, it's not enough to power the thrusters. So one hydrogen engine can kick out 500 megawatts of power. No, 5 megawatts of power. However, each thruster, when at its maximum capacity, takes 3-point-something megawatts of power. So you can do the maths. I can only run about 1.5 engines at a time, which isn't ideal. So even though I've got the ice, and I've got the hydrogen to power the hydrogen engine, I'm going to have to sit and recharge a fair bit while the batteries build up the power so that we can actually do sustained flight. So we're going to have to set up a temporary base and figure out how we're going to get across or get over our power limitations. Now, so far, we have managed to find an asteroid with nickel. We've got one with iron and silver. We've got another one with ice. However, everything else is, as of yet, undiscovered. So what I'm going to do is, on my return journey from this one, I'm likely going to scan some of the others Now, while I am drifting towards these asteroids, I can recharge that way as well. I just need to make sure I want to keep my panels rotated relatively upwards towards the sun. I think that one over there is probably close. So let's go drift towards that one, and then we'll drift towards these ones down here. We'll drift back there, and we'll see what we can pick up. Hopefully, cobalt. Oh. Whoops. Okay, was not expecting it to be there. So I've just crashed into this rock because I was not paying too much attention. We have taken some damage. It looks like the lights have been knocked out, but other than that, I think we're okay. I thought it was further away than it was. Did we take any damage to the drill? No, the drill's fine. Okay, we took some damage to the plate there, and to there. The bottom bits there are fine. That was a careless mistake of mine. I'm not sure what happened there. I was sure I was going to miss that. Okay, is there anything else that got damaged? I don't think anything else got damaged. I think I only whacked the bottom there. Oh, I'm also taking radiation. Need to be careful of that. Right, all the lights have been re-welded. All the panels have been inspected for damage. I think we got away with that. It wasn't even worth it, because there's nothing here. Where was I headed before I diverted to this little rock of insignificance? I think I was heading to that one, wasn't I? I've lost my orientation. We'll just head in this general direction and we'll see what we pick up. And away we go. Nope, changing my mind again, we're going to that one first. No, this is a much more convenient nickel asteroid from the looks of things. And it has an alternative deposit as well, which is good. This looks like a good cluster of asteroids close together. So if I can find the resources I need here, then happy days. I can build a base around here. Let's see what we can find. The good news is there's a lot of nickel and ice here. More nickel. More ice. Okay, so this entire cluster here is nickel and ice. Which is not ideal, but that's a good source of nickel and ice. Okay, we've got a lot of nickel around us. But I need cobalt. So what goodies have you got? I swear, if it's nickel or ice, I'm not gonna be happy. Oh, and it's nickel and ice, of course. So this is still part of that same cluster. Ooh. Okay, let's divert. Let's head to that one. That one's close. Nickel and ice. Okay, so this is all part of the same asteroid cluster, which is mildly annoying. Cobalt. We need that. What else? Cobalt and gold. You know what? That's not a bad combination. So around our little temporary base thing, we've got iron and silver over there, got cobalt and gold over here, magnesium and nickel over there, magnesium silicon, nickel and ice, silicon and nickel, a couple of ice by themselves. I'm sure there are secondary deposits on those asteroids, I just couldn't find them. So all in all, we're doing quite well for ourselves, and they're not that far away from our main base. The only resources we haven't found are uranium and platinum, but we don't need them at this stage anyway. Okay, if we get the basic refinery onto this ship, and get a bit of cobalt and refine it so we can start making more storage, then we're in a very, very good position. Do I have... Yes, I've got a nice convenient spot there, between the ore detector and the tank. I can put a refinery on there quite easily. Basic refinery. Oh, there's not a thing on the bottom there. Oh! I misremembered the orientation of the refinery. It's got to stick up like that. Interesting. No, not the end of the world. 330 kilowatts. That's a yikes, but it's okay. Let's grab a bit of cobalt while we're here, because we can start refining that. Because that can refine as we're flying out towards wherever it is we're going. Because we need the cobalt for metal grids, and we need the metal grids for storage containers. This is going to be an additional strain on our power reserves, but that is okay. So let's grab a full inventory of cobalt, and it can slowly refine it. And again, it can do that as we're flying between places. That small amount of cobalt should be enough to get us started. We do have 17 meal packs, so food is not an issue. Food is actually quite good. And I don't see food being an issue for the foreseeable future. So we're making a good start. I've started making a little platform for us to set a temporary base up on. I put it right next to the ice because we can put a static drill into the ice, or a drill on a piston even, and that will help generate some ice and oxygen and hydrogen and other bits and bobs that we can use. The ship itself is doing well. I keep having to pick up some more stones because we keep running out of iron, but that's okay. The sun has now rotated around into lighting up this area, because it was in darkness when I started. So it does give us an extra challenge, but it's a challenge I can deal with. What we'll do is we'll come back once we've got a bit more progress going on this little temporary platform. Okay, it's been a while since the last update. We have been slowly chipping away at this ice and stone here just to give us a bit of resource. We're making our little platform. We're going to store our hydrogen tanks underneath. We are going to get like a little drill on an arm to mine this ice patch. So we'll always have a supply of hydrogen. This will be our airlocks to get in and out. So we've got one there. We'll have one here to access the drilling platform. And there's one going out this way, which will eventually lead into the asteroid itself. As far as storage on the base, it's very minimal at the moment. We're going to have a cargo terminal here, so we can access our storage. We'll have a couple of oxygen generators here, and probably another couple there. We'll probably run this off of hydrogen engines, which I might put against that wall, but we'll see. I'll probably have to build a separate storage silo elsewhere, but that will be a future expansion problem. For now, we just need to get ourselves situated so we can start mining this ice and solve some of our power issues. The other thing we need to do is build a refinery into this, but I might make a second floor for that, because this initial floor is going to be quite tightly packed. Well, we're running low on silicon, we're running low on iron. We found various asteroids with various resources in them, so I think it's about time we go pay them a visit. Let's go get the iron first, and then we can think about going to get the silicon. Oh, nickel and cobalt. Oh, this is actually quite a useful rock then. Oh, no, that's a lot closer than I thought it was. Oh, that was close. Ah, yes, I don't have a beacon or anything on my ship, do I? Okay, this was a great idea, but I'm now suddenly aware that I have lost my ship. I've lost where I've parked. This is not ideal. Maybe I'm going to have to put an antenna or beacon on this ship at some point, because this is ridiculous. Right, we've hit another snag. I need good access to silicon. However, the silicon on this asteroid is quite far down. So in order to get to it in any decent amount of time, I'm going to have to carve out a area for my ship to go down into. Now, the problem with that is my ship is relatively large, and carving out this area is going to take a very long time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a secondary drill rig, a temporary one, underneath, so that we can basically just carve out everything that we need. That will be enough to get us down to the silicon. Oh, my radiation's spiking. Wasn't paying attention to that. Right, we've made our little mining rig. I say mining rig. This is more terrain clearing rig, because trying to do this by that tiny little drill we have is not going to be fun. So we're going to use this to basically clear ourselves a way down to the silicon, which sits about 60 meters below the surface of this asteroid. Right, in theory, this should allow us to get to the silicon a lot quicker and easier. And because it's pretty much the extent of our ship, we shouldn't have to do several forward and backward passes, left and right passes. It should just be a case of go straight down. Oh, and I've crashed into something. How did I crash into something? I do have to just be careful not to clip anything. Because if I clip anything, then it is a bad time for me. Yeah, I have managed to go down this far in the time it took me to do like one pass up on the top. Now I'm going to need to widen this hole at some point, but for now, there we go. Now we've hit the silicon. Now just to make it much easier to get to, let's go down a little bit deeper and expose more of it. There we go. Look at that. Well, I've hit a voxel. No, I haven't. I've hit the back of the pit. I've hit something. Oh, I might have collided with the doomed voxel. Right. Well, that is as deep as our pit needs to be. We just need to make it wider. Okay. We run into a slight snag. I am desperately low on power. I've got 39 minutes idling. That is about 2 minutes of thrust. And I don't have any reserve power to rely on this time. So, I've got two choices. I can park myself in the sun for a long time and wait for my ship to recharge, or I go and make a detour and try and get some ice before I run out of power. Now, the nearest ice we have is 9 kilometers away. That is the closest ice. It's not looking good. We've almost dug out a route to the silicon. We'll charge the ship in the sun, and then we can use the residual power from that to go get some ice. I'm gonna have to sit here and charge for a bit. Okay, we're in a bit of a predicament. It appears we are very low on power. I've turned off anything that is not important so that we can conserve the power we've got and try and charge the batteries a little bit. Now, the batteries, they are charging. However, with everything turned off, it'll take 2 days to fully recharge. That is 2 real-life days, 48 hours. Now, I don't know about you guys, I do not have 48 hours to sit here and wait for my batteries to recharge. So we're going to have to go get some ice, and quite a considerable amount of ice, so that we can try and resolve some things. Now, I figured out the main reason we ran out of power so quickly was because of the refinery. It uses 300 kilowatts, which is a lot. Now, unfortunately, the nearest ice, I believe we worked out, was... yeah, it's about 9 kilometers that way. Now, we can drift over there. It's not a problem. However, we only have minutes of thrust. So once we get over there, we have to basically get that ice mined and loaded up pretty sharpish. Now, as you can see, all the lights are turned off. Anything which would use excess power is turned off. The assembler is off. The refinery is turned off. Like, I went through everything which could be turned off has been turned off. So I'm going to start drifting over there and hopefully... there you go, we've got 2 minutes of thrust, which is not ideal. So if we just get ourselves up to about 50 meters a second, and we will just gently cruise over there. Collision course, collision, 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 no, 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 no. Whoa, bloody hell, okay. That was close. I was not paying attention to that, that just snuck up on me out of nowhere. Let's just carefully plunge down and start removing the top layer of this asteroid. Have we uncovered a bit of ice? Yeah, there we go. So if we just go into mining mode, we just need to excavate as much ice as we can from this. Might be worth making another H2O2 generator as well, now that I think about it. How much ice did we get? A considerable amount, but we got a lot more stone. Let's build a couple more generators so that we can recharge our hydrogen. Oh, we've only got 1 second of power left, apparently. That is really not good. Let's get that running. We're now running up against power. Okay. Let's get the hydrogen engine also running. Let's slowly recharging our batteries. We need at least one more generator to outpace the engine. Let's turn things back on, because we can now run the assembler, we can run the refinery. Let's build ourselves a shove one there, and shove one there. That's another one of those. I thought this only used... Oh, it's filling up the... That's right, okay. One generator is enough to run the hydrogen engine, but not enough to stockpile any fuel. 2 can now stockpile fuel in the hydrogen engine and then in the tank when it's slow going. 3 will be enough to run the engine and stockpile fuel. There we go. That's going up quite nicely. So once that's filled, it will start filling the tank. Once the tank is full, then we're in business. Does mean we are now going to burn through ice like it's going out of fashion. 73. We've got about 75,000 tons of ice. So I think we should be okay. There's a Doom voxel there. I see you. Okay, I've just had a silly idea. I want to make this ever so slightly deeper. And I wonder, if I rotate my ship 90 degrees, can I get in there and just carve it all out in one go? And I don't have any lights going this way, so I've got to be very careful, but can we fit in this hole this way around? It's going to be tight. I think we can though. We don't want to go take too much off at once because of the way that the drills work. If we come down a tad bit more, shear off this wall a bit more as well, because this is the ore patch. This is the ore patch we're trying to get to. We can skim a little bit off the top, so we can get a slightly bigger patch. And then we're going to need to skim a little bit off here, and a little bit off here. And that should be more than enough. The sun is actually moving in the correct direction we want, so we won't need sideways lights because eventually the sun will actually light up where we're working. We're about to have a collision there. Woo! Yeah, we were about to have a collision there, weren't we? Right, come back a bit. We've got a lot of room behind us. I do kind of want to take a chunk off of this face as well. Because the chances are when we come back here we're not going to have this massive drill rig on the bottom of this ship. It will just be the tiny little drill we have on the bottom. So we want to give ourselves a fighting chance. Okay, that is this area excavated. We can now get to the silicon. It took a bit longer than anticipated, but such is life. We did have to excavate a massive chunk of this asteroid to get down to where the silicon is. But now that it's done, in the future we can easily access silicon on the same asteroid as the nickel. Okay, we've done our mining. We're currently returning to base with all our resources. We've got iron, we have silicon. Now, this ship is very heavy at the moment. We're 500 tons. We're going to park this somewhere near where our base is, and we're going to continue to develop what we started. Now, we're going to be working in the dark again because the sun has rotated around far enough that it's going to cast shadows for the foreseeable. We will have our oxygen generators, probably two there, for now to start with. Cargo, we've only got a small cargo terminal here, so we're going to need to do something about that. We'll probably do a separate room for cargo. I suppose what I could do is I could do 3 under here. I could do a bunch of smalls. 1, 2, and I think I can do... Yeah, I can do these in the middle here, can't I? 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to continue building this and then we'll have a bit of a progress update once I've got a few more things in place. Give me what I need. There we go, we have power. Unlimited, well no, actually quite limited power. This is just running the conveyor system at the moment. Okay, bit of a progress update. We've managed to get the assemblers on the base all welded up with some batteries. So we have temporary power. We have temporary resource crafting capabilities. We've gone for the full-size assemblers because they're much quicker than the basic assembler that we have. Put in a hydrogen engine because we're going to power this off of the ice patch which we have nearby. We've put in the generators. We've got 4 of those, so that should help fill up the hydrogen tanks which are underneath. We have ample cargo on the base for the moment. We've got 6 of these cargo containers down here, and there is another one. There's a cargo terminal inside here that we can access. We've got our air vent to help pressurise the base. We can now shut that door because we have power. We have our oxygen tank, which will be our main life support system. And what I'm doing currently is I'm feeding some conveyor ports up into the roof. And we'll have a refinery on the roof. We'll have 2 basic refineries on the roof to help process stone. And eventually we will have one of the larger refineries, which will come out of this cargo port here. And all in all, everything's going well. Now the sun is rising, and that shadow's creeping steadily closer to me. So we're going to have to start getting a roof on this, getting some lights in, and then pressurizing it. And it'll give us a nice little area to work from. We can start modifying our ship properly, instead of it being like a Frankenstein monster creation. And we can work on getting some hydrogen and other bits and pieces together. Okay, the roof is on. The room is airtight. However, we've run out of iron, so we can't make any more steel plates, which means we can't finish the corridors and other bits and pieces for the airlocks. I think we'll do some more resource gathering. I want to go back to the ship anyway because my energy is running out. We'll grab some resources and we shall see what we can do. But altogether, this is actually coming along quite nicely. Build a little connector, temporary connector, just so that we don't have to manually unload. We have the iron, and at least now with these connected, they should be able to share resources, so I don't have to keep flying back and forth. I'm going to finish welding up the airlocks, get the base pressurized. We're very almost done with this temporary setup, at least to begin with. Because these are connected and I had ice on board, in theory these should be running. They are. Brilliant. We have enough power to run everything we need to run at the moment. Progress has been made. Our ship is docked to the new temporary base. The airlocks they exist. They function as airlocks. We have an airtight, pressurized processing facility, which is all lit up. We've got a lot of things which we're going to need to do, but I think we're going to have to sign it off here. For now, I'm going to head back into the cryo pod. I'm going to let things process, and we will prepare for the next episode. See you next time.
Officer's Log 02, Addendum. Stardate 09-01-2081. The sector I have found myself in is abundant with resources. All of the core construction resources can be found on asteroids within 20 clicks of the one that I am calling home. Some of them were a struggle to access, so I've had to heavily modify the lifeboat to be able to harvest them. Both platinum and uranium are notably absent, however that was to be expected. I've set up a small temporary operating base near an icy patch to help centralise the processing of the ores, and to take some of the strain off the lifeboat's systems. Power remains an issue, as does storage and refining capabilities. Solar radiation is also proving to be more of a challenge than expected. However, things appear to be going well. With any luck, I can get communications back online and see if I can locate any survivors. This is Fiery Shadows of the UPML, signing off.